It's pretty fascinating to me the level of communication, if you will, that's anticipated between companies and employers, between leaders and the teams that they manage, whether that communication is via Zoom or it's face-to-face or it's over the phone or it's via email, text message, even today, Twitter. But I want you to understand that good leaders know that communication is best had in a face-to-face human conversation. And here's why I say that. It is possible through various teleconferencing, video conferencing types of apps to read people's body language, etc. But as we've seen, even those communication styles have significant vulnerabilities, like people who fail to wear pants. You can't do that face-to-face. Fail to wear pants, that is. What are some of the other impacts, though, that leaders have to acknowledge in this new world of communication, especially among peers, teams, and coworkers? I'm J Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast. And I've been paying attention a little bit over the last couple of days to some of the ironic things that are, sneaking around in the background. An example would be what they call the boomerang workers. So the boomerang worker concept is that during COVID, when people were told, oh, just work from home, don't stop working, we can't take time off, just work from home. And when they realized that a lot of people are just as effective working from home, getting the job done, getting the tasks finished, getting the skills updated that they needed to, a lot of those people said, well, why am I spending an hour commuting to work and an hour commuting home from work and spending all that money in fuel if I could just do the same job at home? Well, simultaneously, a lot of the companies went, wait, if I could just pay all my employees exactly the same, or maybe even a little less, and not have to lease this entire workspace and pay for all this high-speed data and blah, 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 then look how much more profit the company could generate. And so simultaneously you have an agreement that I would rather work from home and you would rather that I work from home, and now why would we even have an office space? It doesn't make any sense. Except that to show the office that it wouldn't even exist now if we didn't, never mind. But simultaneously, we have this new onslaught of cyber bullies. And I don't mean the cyber bullies like the ones who make fun of your hair on social media accounts. I mean these guys called Revel are evil. Yeah, that's the name of their company, are evil, like we are evil, Revel. Well, they recently attacked, in fact, over the 4th of July weekend, while most people wouldn't notice it, attacked a company through ransomware that allows them to steal the data of all of that company's customer downline. Anybody that company serves becomes a target, and anybody that company serves becomes a target. Anybody that company serves becomes a target. And the whole consumer database of lack of protection is now vulnerable. So where do these two junctions come together? Well, I don't know. I've read quite a few articles on the concept of this security domain thing, the ideas that would need to float around inside a tech office to say, well, maybe in order to secure, we need to do this. And then we also need to add this software and this kind of certification and this kind of training. And we also need to make sure that we embed these kinds of codes into our systems. Well, let me just tell you, if you don't think your digital devices are listening to every conversation, you're clueless. I had a conversation over dinner with my wife last night about a new software that her employer has put into place to supposedly make life easier. And it has made life quite a bit harder at this point. It just hasn't been smooth through its transitions yet. By the time I got home, and my phone was off during this conversation. I don't mean powered off, but I mean locked, not being used. And yet, by the time I got home, there were ads in my social media accounts, 2 different social media platforms, for the very software we were talking about by name. Not just the general concept of what the software does, but the very software by name. So if you think you're having private conversations and your devices are not listening, you're crazy. If you think that you're having conversations in your workplace or via Zoom to remote locations to all your digital tech people who left the valley, so to speak, and moved to the Midwest, or left the valley and moved to Austin or to Tampa, if you think that you're having those conversations over the web via Zoom or other platforms like that, or even email, and you're not being spied on, you're just not paying attention. And there's a great juxtaposition between leadership conversations that must take place and software that's listening, and evil people who are listening, who have maleficent intent for your leadership. Oh, trust me, this is not just about gaining the paycheck of the ransomware. Yeah, the latest one was a $75 million or $70 million ransom. They asked for $70 million. And they say there's somewhere between 800 and 1,000 companies that have been affected, so that's in the millions of consumers. But that's not all that it's about. It's not just about getting the money. It's about controlling the way you do business. It's about controlling the way you do work. It's about controlling the way you lead. If you think, again, that your devices are not listening, that other people are not listening, that there's no conversation going on about the conversations that you're having, then you're either misled or you have your head in the sand. Oh, trust me, they're listening. And they're listening for certain keywords. And they're listening for what they might call dog whistles or even foghorns. They're listening because they're judging what you say. So let me go back to my initial comment. Leaders know that good communication starts with face-to-face human conversation. Where if somebody's not wearing pants, you know they're not wearing pants. If they're going to stand there and bold-faced lie to you in front of the camera or Zoom, or stack their books up so that they can put the laptop off in front so that the camera angle looks perfectly pristine, meanwhile the rest of the world is falling apart around them, that's really hard to do when you're face-to-face. Oh yeah, I'll continue to do Leading Leaders podcast because I know this is the delivery style that most people are accustomed to. But for my one-to-one clients, this costs extra. I want to sit down with you face-to-face. I'll drive across town to sit down face-to-face with you because I want to see your face. I want to hear your tone of voice. I want to know you're not distracted by everything else that's going on around you. I want to know that what I'm investing in your life is going to pay off. And I can't do that when I don't know that I have your undivided attention. Oh, and trust me, you want mine. If you're paying me for my time, if you're paying me for my insight, if you're paying me for my skill set to train you to do something that you do better, you want my undivided attention. You can't have all the distractions of life coming between us. Nor do you probably want the majority of our conversation, which is generally anticipated to be private, to be listened to by every digital device or copied by somebody else without our knowledge, which happens on a regular basis. Look, good leaders know how to read people. They know how to pay attention to all of the social cues, all of the tone of voice and the facial expressions and the body language. And if you as a leader feel like you're competent enough to do that strictly through digital formats, then you must be really, 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 really good at what you do. And I'm not saying that it can't be done. I'm just saying that face-to-face communication is a whole lot stronger, a lot more trustworthy, a lot more reliable than what we're seeing in the digital world today. I would also venture to say it's a lot more secure. So if you're going to do business, if you're going to do leadership, if you're going to do life, you might consider continuing to enhance your human relationship skills, your human communication skills, so that one day you don't rely solely on your digital devices. Because, my friends, your digital devices and those who use them with ill intent are betraying you. I'm J Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast, or Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day.